Well, we're all back once again. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It's actually a, somewhat bright and sunny Saturday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. Cold as fuck, though, I should say, like 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. Don't know how that translates into Fahrenheit, but it's too damn cold, I'll tell you that right now. Anyways, with that said, I would like to wish you the best, and the happiest. I want to follow up on yesterday's short-term time frame analysis. Bitcoin obviously not breaking any of the ranges here, but with the advent of the weekly closure for both traditionals and CMEs, we do have actually a few things to be talking about on my least favorite day to trade. Anyways, putting the focus over here on the CrownGen application we found at app.crowngen.net. What do we see? We do see that the open interest actually did come down a decent amount from yesterday to today as price action came down, still within the context of an overall consolidation phase, not breaking 11.3, not breaking 11.5 on any time frame that's really relevant to the analysis that we did yesterday. So with that in mind, as open interest does come down within that, basically says that longs we're taking profits and we essentially hold the range. So what does that account towards? Doesn't actually really tell us all that much, but does essentially imply that it could still be interpreted as a healthy consolidation, which may coincide with some of the other things that we look at just a little bit later. Looking at Bitcoin dominance, what do we see? Actually popping up about 0.5% from a 58.5% read to a 59% read right here. We'll actually look at Bitcoin dominance today mostly because, it's the weekend and there's not too much else to look at. And it's good to do like the weekly check-in with it. I'm still looking for a long-term reversal on that, and looking at the fear ingredient index as well. We did pop up about 4 points. Very bizarre. Now this does get calculated in like some gamey-ish type ways, like it's like taking Twitter posts into account and shit like that. I really don't know how they do it, but that's how they say that they do it. And did pop up from 52 to a 56, although Bitcoin did come down overall in the day, but still just holding the range as it is. Looking at the data tab, do we see anything, any canaries in the coal mine over here? No, not really. Still the same thing right here. Still the same thing right here. Still mostly the same thing right here for the last month or so. And down around here, all within the context of what we would expect. So with that in mind, I would like to wish you the best if I haven't already. I'd like to also wish you the happiest too. I think it's fucking important, especially on a Saturday like today. And, the world could use a little bit more smiles, I guess. Anyways, okay, so what do we see here on Bitcoin daily? We did close the day like literally right at, a little bit above 11.3-ish region. Still above all major moving averages here. And yes, if we're just talking like straight up on the weekend, do I think that it's going to bounce again from this level? Probably yes. 11.3 does seem to be relevant as it has been, and I do still feel strongly about this one being the harbinger of potentially death and despair if it does get broken to the downside. So let me actually chart this out for a 4 hour right here, as this is one that we've been following. Obviously when it's at 11.250, that's relevant to the 2 hour and also the 10 hour, which a lot of people are asking about. But if you're just looking at a 4 hour, 12 hour daily, then yes, I'd be looking at 11.3 right here. So as long as that area does hold, I don't really constitute this as a breakdown. Similar to the upside, 11.550 would be the area, would be the magical number, and actually more like 11.525 if you want to be super exact. And then yes, I would be looking for big bad moves to the upside, and of course we should talk about what price action would be looking like if we did break one of those ranges. Let's talk about the downside first. Bitcoin does break below 11.3 on a 4 hour total closure or a 12 hour or daily. I'd be looking for a quick move back down to about $11,000 base in this liquid zone right here. Very likely a short-term bounce of this level. And, is continuation implied or not? Technically not, but coming back down to this level would not be the picture of health and fitness. Technically speaking, though, I should be looking at this next level in the same vein that I look at 11.3 as it is right now. As if this level does break, then yes, then it's time to be getting a little bit more excited for some actual long-term, maybe not long-term is the right word, but some decent downside. I probably would be looking for a move overall back down to at the very least the mid 10,000s, and personally speaking, I do think low 10,000s where Bitcoin would likely head back around. But for right now, to be 100% clear, I actually do think that Bitcoin is just going to trade sideways here. We did say yesterday, I actually didn't really have any calls yesterday to be made on Bitcoin, been kind of saying the same thing on the week for Bitcoin, but I didn't take any trades yesterday on Bitcoin, even though it did hit this 11.3 or that 11.250ish target that we spoke about yesterday. I wasn't really interested in scalping that, mostly because I think that this range is pretty damn mature right now. Looking at historical volatility percentile, we were seeing expanding into yesterday, Friday, when all that movement was happening. So I really didn't want to play a move like that alongside momentum. Also is turning against it. As you can see right now, it is holding in there for what it's worth. But that also did come alongside a jewel sell signal right here. Not a perfect one by any stretch of the imagination, but I do see these a lot of the time. Get a little bit of love, and then if it does essentially line up with the same sort of look that we're seeing right here, coming into the time that CME's open on Sunday, then I probably actually would be looking for that to play out, maybe between then and Monday. However, for right now, I do think that it's more, or at least for myself, it's more important to be more conservative within this region. There are plenty of trades to be had off of 11.3 that produce nice little bounces to 11.5 and beyond. And right now is kind of the time to be waiting, in my opinion, as the resolution of this range is going to be the next big trade, at least in my opinion. So, of course, we spoke about the downside right here. Let's speak about the upside. The upside is a lot more exciting here, and it's also every moon boy's dream now, isn't it? 11.525 on a 4-hour total closure. Then I'd be targeting to move back up to about 11.8. Do I think that we'd stop there for a very short-term pullback? Yes, but realistically, I don't really see any real reason to be stopping there. Realistically, the next major is actually this area right here at about 12,100ish region, between there and about $12,050. It's the same regions that we saw throughout the month of August, all throughout here, exactly the same shit. They're all still relevant. Just taking it one by one essentially is what I'd be looking at. Actually, we should, now that I look at it right here, we should actually curtail this a little bit up as well, directly in line with the 236 and also in line with all of these wicks right here. Excellent. Okay, there we go. And as you can see, the fib is actually getting it rather well. So with that in mind, let's go through the lower term time frames right now and just see what's kind of adding up. Is there anything obvious is the real question. So looking at 4-hour Stokes, looking like they are going to get picked up right here once again, which actually is of interest because it does mean that this trend line is getting a little bit of love, as it already has gotten 1, 2, and 3 major lows. If it does start to turn up right here, probably within these next 2 ticks, then that's going to be a damn good signal that actually does get a little bit of a more bounce to the upside here, maybe back around, let's call it 11,450ish to 11,500ish region. Obviously that's not calling like $100 to $150 move is not anything too crazy, but it is a weekend, so I really do think that it's important to be more conservative within this sort of trading sphere. Now that's just my disposition. Obviously other people out there will tell you how much they trade on the weekends and how much money they make. That's fucking awesome. I there's nothing against that at all. Just for myself, I look at this as like a game of poker where I'd rather just wait for the exact hand that I want in order to play. And if I don't get it, no play, and no harm, no foul. Anyways, okay, so looking at this right here too, 4-hour RSI, we actually did get a hidden bullish divergence signal as well, coming off this low. Which low was this? Yeah, this one right here. Could you say that it's already played out from 11.3 to 11.350? Probably not. I mean, usually I will take profit at the 21 just based off a signal like that, but it also kind of is driving my bias that I do think that we see a little bit of a drive higher here, probably like another $100 higher. And does that really change anything? No, we're still in the middle of a fucking range, so it's it's realistically it doesn't really do all that much. But a little bit of weekend sandpaper is potentially good for the for the unloved soul, if you want to call it that. Yeah, we'll say it that way. What about the 3-hour right here? What do we see? 3-hour Stokes, flippy floppy. A little bit of a snake and technically down right now. Do we have that same sort of trend line being shoved here too? Yeah, we do. In fact, it looks actually a little bit more appropriate for the 3-hour, and it would suggest that, hey, still be looking at this region right here. That means that, again, I really want to see 11.3 broken before I actually do get even, medium-term bearish on this one, looking for that next, what is it going to be, about $300 to $400 move to the downside before the next sort of short-term bounce. What does the 2-hour say? Do we see anything of note here? We do see 2-hour Stokes popping back up, looking decent, and having that same sort of trend line filled out, albeit not as well documented. What do we see on 2-hour RSI? Not much. Neutral as neutral gets. Does look constructive over the whole period of time, but what does that mean for right now? It probably means more sideways. If I had to call it right now, if I had to put my fucking name on the line and call it right now, what's Bitcoin going to do today? Probably play between 11.3 and 11.5. The same shit for the last week. Hey, guess what? Doesn't this sound familiar, by the way? Hey, Bitcoin gets a move for like a day or two, or actually just go to a week. Let's go to weekly right here. Bitcoin gets a move for like a week and then does what? Goes sideways for like a month or two. You see it right here. 3 months sideways. Boom. Couple weeks up. Month sideways. 1 week down. Month and a half sideways, 1 week up. Same thing over here. 1 month, couple weeks to the upside right here. 1 month sideways, boom, down. And same thing over here. 3 months consolidation again at a high level before breaking down. So that's just par for the course on Bitcoin. And I can't speak English, so there you go. Let's go to the hourly as well before we get out of this bitch. And hourly Stokes up. So again, I do think that Bitcoin's going to travel back up to the top side of the range. At least 11,450ish region, maybe maybe 11,500. Does that do anything for myself? No, absolutely not. What about hourly RSI? Nothing. What about hourly Joule? Soft buy signal right here as well. Equally as unimpressive as the 4-hour sell signal. I'm not interested in really either one of those. But if they are present coming into Sunday when CMEs open at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, yeah, perhaps something to play. But for right now, range continues. We just test the range lows. What's typically going to have to happen after that? Probably going to go test the range highs or around the range highs, whatever is relevant for this time frame. In this case, I'd say 11,450 to 11,500. What do we see on the medium term time frames? Or actually, we didn't even look at historical volatility percentile on the hourly here. Yeah, contracting quite a bit. What happens in a contraction phase while we do hold up the overall range? Well, probably just going to float up as well. I mean, Jesus. It's almost as if this asset is, no, never mind. Bi-hourly, contracting a bit there too. 3-hourly, what do we see? Contracting on the whole, yes. 4-hour, what do we see? Same thing. All right, cool. So let's go over to the medium-term time frame, see if there's anything of note here as well. 12 hours still being governed on the lows by the yellow 21 exponential moving average. 12-hour stocks are technically down right now, and they are aggressive. They're actually starting to aggressively increase their downside. Actually, we do have a trend line coming in right around here. This one is of note, and actually would pay particular attention to this one because it comes in right at the edge of the bearish control zone, which naturally you typically do see counter trend pressure around that region. And you can imagine that probably within the next 1 to 2 ticks, it will get around here. What happens in the next 1 to 2, maybe even 3 ticks? That's when CMEs open, by the way. So there you go. So likely does match up with each other, and that would mean that the more sideways that Bitcoin puts within this range, the better it will look overall. What do we see on 12-hour RSI? Nothing. Long-term constructive again. Short-term sideways. Nothing. just fucking nothing. Boring as fuck, man. Sandpaper's out, baby. Sandpaper's out today. Oh shit. And I had a terrible night of sleep, by the way, but my girlfriend said that I'm alpha, so I'm feeling very strong and powerful, and I'm feeling like a little bit of daily. What do we see on the daily? Daily momentum down right now. Still being governed by the 10 simple here, but what to make out of this? I long term, again, constructive. I do like this chart actually long term. Problem is what I'm going to show you in traditional markets. Just both a surprise. It's a little bit of, and that's not good for the soul. But, as Bitcoin maybe might do its own thing for the first time in about 10 years, should keep my mind open, I guess. Here's the thing, though. Historical volatility percentile on the daily still in the process of expanding from a very low level. Anytime that we've gotten this low, well, the last time was this, July 21st of 2020. There's your big bad move for about $3,000 from 9,000 to 12,000. Time before that we were that low was coming out of this space right here before this move from about 7,000 all the way to 10,500. Doesn't always go up, by the way. Let's look at an example where it goes down. Hey, here's a great one. Right here, November 2018, 6,000 to 3,000. So nice little 50% dump as well. So my point is that this area right here is building a phenomenally important base, and the next big move outside of this range is likely to produce a big piece of price action. So whether you're bullish or bearish, that's really, as a trader, that's why I don't really care to be bullish or bearishly biased within a consolidation range like this, because the resolution of it is likely to lead on to a big trade anyways, which I'm happy to play either on peripheries of and just play those scalp bounces or pullbacks, or if I can, which I very rarely do, play the breakout itself. But anyways, that is the most compelling thing that I see right here. What do we see on daily RSI? Again, long-term constructive, similar to the 12-hour, as you'd imagine that they have a lot of relationship to each other. Short-term, a little bit of downside angle here, though. But long-term still good. So very short-term down, but needs to be taken into consideration of the whole context. Do you see anything on the daily Joule? Not really, no. All right, cool. So with that in mind, let's go over here to the secondary chart, see if there's anything of note, anything that we're not seeing on the preliminary charts. Start off maybe with the low-term timeframes. It is a Saturday after all, so might as well go through the go through the full look. 4-hour Bollinger Bands are actually very tight right here. So could it be relevant that we actually do break on Saturday? Maybe yes. Just based off of that. But there's no reason why we couldn't, spend another day within this region. We've already spent about a week. So, there you go. Although technically speaking, it does become more and more likely to break out or break down the longer that it does kind of tighten up like this. But what's another day, baby? What's another day? What do we see on our momentum oscillators down here? MACD is losing its grip a little bit here. Histogram is actually putting in higher lows, to be fair, comparison to what we see right here. What does that do for actual price action? I mean, we basically have the lows at the same price action anyways. Would say that the momentum is waning to the downside on this time frame. As far as DMI, ADX, nothing, not getting shit from this right now. ADX is flaccid, and neither the DMI plus or DMI minus is dominant right now. So very little to make out of that. But I imagine that the next move outside of that range probably does actually give a legitimate signal coupled up with the ADX. If I had to put if I had to put some weight on it, that's actually what I'd be looking at. What about the 12-hour right here? 12-hour looks like wants to pop up a little bit. Just bouncing off the 20 simple short term. 12-hour MACD though, very problematic. 12-hour DMI, again, it's the end of a cycle right here. It's telling us that we're consolidating as the ADX loses strength and the DMI plus actually gets back to the threshold, which realistically means that we're probably going to see something new emerge from it. Again, does not imply anything else, just means that the next signal is the one to be looking for, which we don't actually have right now. Looking at the daily, what do we see here? Still riding all major moving averages, or for what I have on the board at least, 10 and 20, both simples. Top side of the Trailing band would be about 11.7 to 11.8, so that would align with our top side target. Bottom side 10.3. So that would be a legitimate target if we actually do break down a little bit more governed off the daily. MACD is loosening its momentum here as well. Not a death sentence in and of itself, as typically a lot of the times that you do see it kind of like pop over the zero read like this for the first time, it will come back down and then actually hold again at the zero read. So with that in mind, it's a long way of saying nothing happening right now. It's fucking Saturday, man. Turn on the goddamn cartoons. Turn on a little bit of... and have a good time, man. Have a good fucking time. What do we see on daily? ADX, DMI. DMI plus is technically dominant right now, although it's definitely losing its grip. If you compare this with the 12-hour, I imagine that we're probably going to see something like the 12-hour transact into the daily, as the DMI plus does go all the way back down to the threshold, and the ADX, I imagine, on the next tick probably is going to loosen its grip as well. No longer strengthening, which, again, telling us exactly what we already know. Fucking sideways, man. Fucking sideways. All right. Bitcoin sideways, imminent, bullish as sideways as fuck. How does that even work? Oh, Jesus, man. I'm very curious to see what the titles are going to be today in the cryptocurrency lands. It's like imminent warning of great repute. The last time Bitcoin gave this signal, it did absolutely fucking nothing. How many times can you cry wolf, man? Like, I'm not even literally trying to talk shit about these people. I actually like a lot of these people as people, because they're good. I know a lot of these people. They're actually good people. I'm just curious, like, where does this come from? All right. What do we have here on the 2-day? Anything of note? We did actually just close 2-day last night. Again, showing the range between the 10 simple and the top side Toronto band for the short term, further verifying it at 11,550ish region and 11.3 to the downside. We already knew that though, so it doesn't really tell us all that much. DMI, ADX, nothing. What about 3-day? We're actually gonna be closing that one, I believe, tonight. Yes, tonight actually. Cool. All right, sweet. 3-day MACD actually just for having a fresh cross the upside, to be fair. And we will very likely actually get a positive slope on the 20 simple moving average right here as well. And the DMI plus technically dominant right now, and the ADX is actually strengthening, which is rather bizarre within this region. Here's also something that I'd really be looking for. If the DMI plus on the 3-day does take this next turn and actually turns up, gets a positive slope on this, and ADX stays strong like this too, where it actually remains in that sort of more what I say, like whitish color in comparison to the gray right here, then that also would be a good signal that we probably actually do test around 12,000 overall, and that's exactly where the top side Trailing band is on this. By the way, guess where the bottom side Trailing band is? Lows at 10,000. That's essentially the move that I'm looking for from here. And if Bitcoin actually does head up to 12,000, I don't think that would stop there. I actually do think that we'd probably put in new highs on this run, to be fair. But we'll get to that bridge when we cross it. Let's go over to the weekly as well before we get on to traditional markets, and then we blow this whole puppy apart. So weekly right here, still looking fine to me. Weekly RSI, very constructive. Looks like this next test actually will have a potential to get into the bullish control zone. If it does, if it can, then overall good. I mean, this would be very, 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 very good behavior right here. Also confirming a further low on that last tick on the 20th of September right here. I do like that. and would imply some more upside alongside our momentum oscillators as well. We look at weekly Stokes right here, rejecting the neutral zone back up and at them. And I imagine that will inevitably happen as long as Bitcoin, especially if Bitcoin closes above 11.5. And other than that, do we see anything of note? Not really. Okay, so we've spoken about all of the cool things to look at on Bitcoin. And if I'm just looking at Bitcoin, actually, it does seem like at the very least short term, yeah, it probably does pop back up. Medium and long term, I want to see the resolution of the range. If I had to call it right now, or if I was just looking at Bitcoin, actually would be bullish, to be quite honest with you. And is there a reason, would there be a reason to be bullish on Bitcoin if I was not to be bullish on, say, other markets? Well, traditionally speaking, on the macro trends, no, because that's just not what we see. And you're free to both either reference the videos that I've done on that in the past, or just put a chart on top of a chart, and you can make a decision for yourself. But we'll go over here to Nasdaq and see, as this one does seem to trade quite well with Bitcoin, and the way that we closed on Friday was very bad. So there's a little bit of market psychology here and a little bit of just structure in general. First and foremost, closing on your lows like this is fucking bad on a Friday, and I'll explain to you why. It's a very, very simple concept actually. So the reason why Friday closures or weekly closures for traditional markets are so important is because whatever you do on Friday, if it's like a very strong up close or a very strong down close, means that whoever was taking those positions, causing that price action, they're cool, they're okay with holding it throughout the weekend. 2 days where technically speaking, price action can and will fucking move. That's how you get gaps after all. But that person is so confident in their belief, they have such a conviction that they're willing to hold through that portion where they literally can't even fucking trade. You can't do anything. Even as a professional, you can't do anything during the weekends. It's not like Forex where like banks can actually trade with each other over the weekends and retailers can't. In traditional, no, nothing goes. It's your next chance is like Sunday night pre-market. So good luck with that, or futures if you really need to hedge on Sunday as well. But this right here, yeah, I would be looking for this one to come back down all the way to the 21 exponential moving average. I do not think that the 10 symbol is going to bounce it again at 11,750. Be looking for a move back down here towards 11,600. By the way, I should follow up on yesterday's analysis on this one as well. I had this one backwards. I think I said yesterday that this one was going to come back down to 11,750 and then bounce. But what happens here? First it actually bounces up to 12,000 and then dumps down to that same area. And this is why I look at things in terms of ranges rather than like, it must do this and then that, because that's a lot less dependable. In a case like this, a closure like this on a Friday, yeah, I'm looking for continuation coming into Monday. But that's not a death sentence in and of itself. As the 21, I would be looking for a bounce there. If that area starts to fail though, looking at a closure below there, again, 11.6, then problems, then, structure's starting to get wrecked, and I'll be looking for the next move down another couple $100 lower. But, we'll get to that one if and when it does happen. Short-term time frames, do we see anything of note here? I mean, momentum also is going to turn back down, closing on your lows, but 4-hour RSI is very problematic here as well. I don't like this chart. At least short term, I don't like this chart. Daily also breaking the exponential here too. Long term, is it somewhat constructive? You could make that argument, yes. Actually, not as much as Bitcoin, to be fair. But it still would imply some short term downside, anyways. Probably even maybe even as far back down as the edge of the bearish control zone. What about the weekly here too? We do see weekly momentum oscillators looking like they wanted to cross back onto the upside and hold on to the bullish control zone, and this could really rock Bitcoin off its socks too. If the same thing happens to Bitcoin, but the way that it closed, no, that's actually not going to happen. Weekly RSI though is good. I do like this still, so that does still tell me on the long-term trend, be okay with it. But yes, I would be looking for an extension to the downside coming into next week. 11.5 target? 11.6 target. Currently trading 11.8, so that's actually quite the move right there, and I would be looking for a bounce there, and then I want to come back and see it after that. But with momentum also turning down on the daily as well, I'm a little bit skeptical here, and I expect to see the same thing on SPY futures here too. Not as abysmal of a close on Friday, but very similar in scope, anyways. Looking at the daily, yeah, I do think that this one's going to be coming back down to about 3,400-ish region. We did not get to close above the areas that would have made a lot of things things a lot more easy for myself. Like we were saying yesterday, Nasdaq 12,000, SPY futures 3,500 was the magical number. Both those being adverted, and short term, yes, I'd be looking for this one to term downside. It's basically the same fucking chart. I mean, just look at this right here. This is your daily momentum oscillator. This doesn't look familiar. Here's your daily RSI. Doesn't look familiar. Hey, you want to see the weekly? Sure, have a weekly. Looks the fucking same, huh? Looks the fucking same. I still like weekly RSI though. I should say that. Should definitely say that. But short term down, yes. In this one, I'd be looking for a move back down towards about 3,400 base and likely a bounce there. Then I want to see what happens after that. Let's see just like what some of the oddballs here are doing, some of the market leaders. Microsoft, a little bit of a rejection on the day. What about Apple? Closing on the downside. What about Tesla? Yeah, a little bit of rejection there too. Tesla actually had a chance to do it yesterday as well, putting this sunny triangle over a long period of time. Getting rejected at the right level, or getting rejected at the wrong level is not good, sir, and probably be looking for a move. If I had to call this one right now, I'd be looking for another move back down to about $400. You know, long term, this one does still have structure in place, to be fair, even though I do like to shit on this one for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it just feels good in the similar way that it feels good to be bearish on Bitcoin when everyone's screaming fucking moon. But then again, you know, obviously not everyone's saying the same thing at all the fucking time anyways. How ridiculous can you get, Krown? But you know, you get my point. And more importantly, this is why the big focus was on Nasdaq and in SPY, kind of setting the tone, because they basically, you know, open the gates or close the gates for the rest of them more often than not. Not always. Yes, you do get outliers here and there, but more often than not, yes. Let's go check out some of the other market major indices. Triple Qs, same thing. Closing on a little bit of a shooting star, Doji Dillo, if you want to call it that. Short-term downside, yes, 283. What about England's? Oh, Jesus, terrible. Did close actually up, which is kind of funny, but this is still a god-awful chart. For the love of God, save the Queen. God save the Queen. The Queen. Had to let that one play through too. What about Russell 2000? Does look a little bit better than the other ones. Low term time frame, so I think tell the story. Short term down, back down to about 1600 base. What about NYA? Same thing. Short term tells the story. 13,100-ish region. Did make new highs on the run though, which was quite nice. Long term, could this one still be good? Yes, actually yes. So we're seeing rotations. We're seeing, we're seeing the other major indices take over essentially. Let me just check on the time. Okay, and I am recording, so that's really good. Because I'm already 27 minutes into this video. Great, good one, Krown. Okay, let's look at tech sector as well, and very similar to what we see on Nasdaq. Very similar to what we see on Nasdaq. I don't have much to add on to it other than that. Short term down, 120 is where I'd be looking towards, and I think that's pretty much it. Should we go look at some Buterol bullshit? Yes, we should, but don't call it bullshit, Krown. This is the next global computer. This is the next. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Buterol on the wall. Tell me which one of you is the most boolah-ish of them all. Well, that looks healthy. So. Oh my God, man. All right. What about 2-day, 3-day? Probably going to bounce up short term with Bitcoin, probably back up towards like 372, 373 maybe. Actually, probably short term, it does have a little bit of upside here, to be fair. God damn it, man. I really want to use that oh God for a great one, and this one isn't it. This medium term, though, probably does hit some downside back down to about 354 region. But yeah, short term probably does play a little bit of upside. Uni, show me my unicorns. My unicorns have been good to me, haven't they? Well, oh, what's this? DeFi is defunded. Good night. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Okay, so all right, so creature names, mystical creatures are out. Sushi names are in. Let's see what Sushi's doing. Sushi Bitcoin. This one's got to be good. Chef. Oh man. Shut up. Sorry, should be respectful to Lexington Steel and always let people finish before you politely ask them to stop talking. Well, we're gonna need a new chef. What do you tell the people after that, like, who, you know, put their life savings in that? So it's come to my attention that apparently this Sushi thing wasn't what it was purported to be. Buterol versus Bitcoin, short-term up, long-term garbage. No, it's not garbage, Krown. This is the new world supercomputer. It's definitely going all the way up to 0.028. Short-term is up though. Short-term is up, probably back up here towards 0.327-ish region. Above 0.0338, I'd be bullish. And if Bitcoin does break to the upside, I would be bullish on just about everything. I don't know about the satoshi comparisons to these assets, so let's actually check on the Bitcoin dominance. Nice, I just tangentially reminded myself. That's good. Always forget. Yeah, weekly still looking like reversal to myself. You know, we had this level plotted out for months in advance, going all the way back to, I believe, like February, March of this year. And the market moves like molasses, like the wheels of justice. They turn slowly, but they do turn. And, you know, I'm still looking, short term, medium term, and long term, I'm bullish on this one now. I think this one's in motion. Okay, short term, no. Short term is down, to be fair. Short term is down, probably coming back down here. So altcoins probably are going to get a little bit of a uppity up versus their Satoshi counterparts, but medium term, long term, very bullish, very, very bullish. Weekly reversal. I'm still looking over the next half year to a year for a move back up to like the mid 60% regions. Monthly, same thing, probably even more, if anything, maybe like upper 60s. But that would probably take a little bit longer here too. So fair enough. So, you know, general bias on most altcoins versus their Satoshi value. Actually, short term, yes, up, probably does go up a bit. Long term though, you know, still looking months down the road. I do think that a lot of these ones are going to be going for big retraces. In fact, let's see what the big Charlie fucking Lee. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You thought I was going to do it, didn't you? Got you fucking conditioned like a Pavlovian dog right now. And honestly, it should be, because this is really bad. This is like really bad. Does this one even have any short-term upside? I mean, this is what short-term upside is for Litecoin. It's just putting in like, it used to put in lower highs on a daily. Now it just puts in lower highs on a 4 hour. You know, that's looking great. What about Link's the darling in this market. Short term up, yep. I'd probably be looking for it to pop back up towards 96,000 satoshis. I do like how it's kind of holding there on the low term time frames, maybe even all the way back up to 96 to 98,000 satoshis. What does the weekly look like? Let's go look at the dollar pairing actually. Not really getting much from this. I'm getting a mixed look on this one. Let's see what its day look like right here. Yeah, short term up, probably back up a little bit above, a little bit north of $11. Yeah, 4 hours saying the same thing here too. Not even looking at momentum oscillators. Look, ma, no hands. I mean, you know, believe it or not, there is actually plenty of people out there who are wild. It's really strange, actually. One of the best traders that I do know, he doesn't use any indicators, like not even volume. He just looks at the chart. I don't know how he does it. There's also, I mean, there's guys who do all sorts of weird shit. Like I knew this one guy who was old as fuck. And he would literally just read the tape. Now we were actually like on the floor of the exchange, so you know he was kind of used to it because that's how I guess he started, like whenever the fuck he started, you know, because it wasn't so long ago that we didn't actually have computers. But he'll just like look at the trades coming in, and he knows. I don't know how the fuck I have no fucking clue how he does it. I definitely cannot do the same sort of thing. It's not, by the way, not the same thing as looking at the order book. The order book is not the same thing. It's oh Jesus, man, people still going on about the order book. It's a very enlightening topic. Anyways, yeah, short term I'll be looking for a little bit of upside on this one. Probably gonna follow whatever Bitcoin does on the whole. because the higher term time frames I'm really not getting much from, if anything. If anything, I'd actually be a little more upside on this one. You know, Link is actually still the darling of the market in my eyes. If it does want to have some downside, if Bitcoin breaks down, I'd be looking for another move back down to about 840-ish region and probably bounce there. But I'd probably look for Bitcoin to set the tone. It seems like it has its range, just a little bit more set in stone, whereas Link is more floaty. But with floaty does imply that if it does move to the upside, it's going to be a lot more violent than its than its counterparts. All right, I think I've talked to you to death now, and I apologize for that. We're already 34 minutes into this video. What the fuck is this over here? Jesus, man, there's so many like scam comments on these videos. It's insane. Like I actually go through and remove a lot of them, and then I come back in the morning and they're like, there's like 10 times more. It's like an impossible job, man. YouTube, please help. So yeah, Bitcoin 11.3, 11.5, breaking 11.3 on a 4-hour total closure or 12-hour or daily. I'd be looking for a quick move down to about 11,000, probably bounce there, and I'd want to see it after that. If this area does break, extend targets down to about the mid 10,000s to the upside, anywhere above 11,550-ish region. Especially, could I use a 2-hour up there though? Yeah, I could use a 2-hour above 11,550. For a 4-hour, could use not much different, just basically like 11.5, a little bit above 11.5 essentially. Then I'd be targeting a quick move up to about 11.8. Short-term pullback there with continuation actually implied a little bit more north towards the $12,100 region, and long-term it actually having more continuation implied above there. But for right now, man, I think that's a good place to kind of leave it off. We'll save the more long-term stuff for tomorrow because today is Saturday after all. And with that said, I want to wish you the best once again. Take care. Apologies for the very immature and silly jokes, but gotta have fun some way, man, when looking at this goddamn range of piss and shit. With that said, take care, and until next time.